Welcome back. In this video I'll show you how to use the StrauntMaunt PG Scripts. First up, we're going to go to the repository and we go over to the PG Scripts folder. We can say code and download the directory of the scripts, so we have it available locally over here. Next up, we're gonna go to our game folder. Over here there should already be a folder data, a folder maps, and a folder called procedural placement. Over here there are some scripts. We're just going to extract the scripts we just downloaded into this folder, so we have them available in the editor. Next up, we can open the editor. When we go to Window Procedural Placement, we go over to Scripts, we should see the newly added scripts over here, so we can use them in our rule set. First rule, we're going to texture an area, so let's start by creating an area. Currently, we don't have anything except for the block mask. We'll ignore the block mask for now, so we'll create a new mask. We want to create a forest, so I'll call this one PG Forest. We go to our map location, and inside we should have a data folder and a masks folder. This is where we are going to save our mask. I see we have another mask left over. We don't need this one anymore. We're going to create one for the forest. Size is default for us, so now we have a mask we can use. We can add a basic rule to load our mask. Let's call it forest. Over here we should be able to select the load mask script. We're going to select our forest and we're going to give it a specific name, in this case forest. That's it. We can apply and we can press place objects, and we should see actually nothing because we're not doing anything with our mask yet. It's just loaded in memory. So now let's do something with it. First up, when we go to procedural placement, now we can select our new mask and we can just paint terrain. Takes a while because right now on the fly placement is enabled. I can disable this and I can paint way more freely without having it load. Let's do something with this area, because when we unpress the button we see the area disappear, so we want to do something with the texture underneath. We can add a new rule to texture our forest. We'll select the mask fill option. Over here we need to enter a mask name. That's going to be forest for us. We have to select an object, and these objects are your terrain layers. We're just going to fill it in with forest ground. Apply, press place objects. Now our mask is filled in with the new texture. That's cool, but forests also have trees, so we'll add some trees. I already predefined some, but we can ignore that for now. When we press add new reference, over here we can select a new tree object. We're going to our base game folder. Over in data we have maps and trees. We can select any tree from the base game we like. Let's add this one and call it something we can remember. We'll apply over here, go to our rule set, add a new rule to place reference objects in our forest. We can say mask fill. Over here we'll say we're going to fill our forest, and we'll add our new tree object. Press apply, press place objects, and it should generate our trees. Now we have some trees ready, but a forest has more than only trees. So we'll add some bushes to it. We can add some foliage over here. When we click add foliage, we have the option to select any of our foliage layers. We'll select deco foliage, deco bush, pick out a blueberry. We have to give it a name. We'll call it foliage blueberry. Press apply, go back to your rule set, Let's add some foliage to our forest. Again, select our script. Let's fill in the mask, the forest mask. With our new foliage. Press apply, press place objects. Now we have bushes, but we have way too much of them. So we'd like to maybe clear that out a bit. What we can do is enable noise. Press apply, place objects. It will not add objects everywhere, but it will use a random pattern to scatter the foliage in the area. But it's still way too much for what we want, so we can fill it in further by saying we're going to add a noise limit. And the only thing we really have to do right now is enter this noise limit. It's a number from 0 to 1. If I would say 1 should fill in just about everything, because it's going to use the whole mask to cover it, and it doesn't do anything, so that's curious. Let's try setting it to something that's more sensible, like a half, and see what that gives us. Okay, this looks more like it, so I think there's an edge case when we're entering 1. It looks like when we didn't enter the limit noise. I think this is the default when you don't enable it. If you want less bushes, we can lower this number, for example 0.2, apply, place objects. Now we have way less bushes once it has finished generating. It's a little bit too less, or we can add way more of them by making this number bigger, adding more foliage. When we press place objects. Okay, that's way too much, so we're going to lower it back again, but we're going to do something else extra. Let's add another detail layer. And now, for example, we're going to say we're going to fill the same layer. Also, still forest. We're going to add another texture. Maybe to make it really obvious, I'll take something like concrete. We're also going to enable the noise, and we're going to set it at exactly the same value as the other one. I think it was 0.4. And now when we generate, this is a texture layer instead of a foliage layer. Don't mix your layers up. The same noise that was used to create the foliage is also used to place the texture, so we can texture underneath the objects we're actually generating. Now I'm doing it for the foliage, but I could do the same thing for the trees. If I don't want it to match up, over here we have the option to fill in an optional sync group. I can just put this to anything else, and now when we regenerate, the terrain that we were filling in with concrete should have another seed and should fill in a different scattering pattern. If we want more or less of it, it's the same as before. We can just adjust these values, apply, and regenerate our terrain layers. We had one tree, we can add multiple trees, or maybe different trees, I should say. I already pre-filled, or I preloaded some objects for me to use. I can say I want some oak trees, but also some of these. Let's press apply, let's generate, see how that looks. We barely have any trees left, but we do see some variation. So let's do the same thing as we did with the foliage. Let's add a noise level. Let's set it halfway, see how that looks. Let's generate. Okay, now we have scattered some more, and we see the variation of our trees. We can again lower or make this number bigger to generate more or less trees. So let's add it, let's generate a little bit more. Okay, now that's basic mask usage. This is a very rough line, so let's do something about that. We can say we want to texture a forest border, for example. Then we can go to PG mask border fill. We can say we want a border for our forest. We want it, for now, we'll just fill it completely. That's about it. We'll add a texture to it, the forest grass. We'll see how that looks. We have to define a border size. 0, 0 is not going to work out. So I'll say it can go 4 units out from this place, 4 units out. We'll go into texture something. Let's press place objects, and it should generate our new border around here. Now this is still very rough. So what we're going to do over here is put this to grass. So this is a completely filled in base layer. We're going to duplicate this rule, and in the new one, we're going to call it fade. This is the one where we're going to select forest grass, and we'll say fade out, apply, place objects. And now we're fading out our border from inside to the grass layer. This black thing will disappear if you reload the editor or when you load the game up. It only shows after generation. I don't like the concrete. Let's fix that. Let's call this forest grass. Apply. Okay, now we have our new rule set. We still have our mask. When we enter on the fly placement, we can adjust our mask. And after adjusting it, it will immediately apply our new rule set and generate our new forest. Still with the concrete, so we're doing something wrong over here. We probably didn't save. Let's call it forest grass, apply, and reapply terrain. Still not working out. This one is still concrete, so something is going wrong. Let's try the reset button. Completely remove this. Press save. Okay, it's gone. Let's add a new one. Apply, place our objects. And now it's way better. Okay, we did the fade over here with the texture, but we can also do it with the trees or the foliage or whatever. Maybe we want the maybe that's it for now. There's a lot of different rules we can use. What didn't I show yet? Resize is an interesting one. Let's show that one. Resize our forest. And we're doing something wrong over here. Resize our forest. Let's pick up the resize option. Let's say we want to resize our forest and make it 4 units bigger. We can press apply. We'll do this before we actually start generating anything. Now when we press place objects, our mask will first be made bigger before it starts applying everything it needs to, and so now it extends. If it was too big, if you want to have a bigger border, for example, when there's a road near it or something, we can decrease the size of the mask before generating. -4 over here, apply. We can run our rules. It just works together with the other rules, so it even applies when you're painting. We see some leftover, and that's because we're not regenerating this part of the terrain, only now because the mask has become smaller. We're not touching this anymore, so we'll see this in action when I manually try to fill this in with grass, and then we regenerate. We can see that over here, where I cleared it. Now it's perfect, but over here it didn't clear it before regenerating because now the mask is smaller, and so we're not regenerating that part. Usually this should be part of another mask, and that other mask will place meadow or grass or something over here. So we can dynamically resize our masks. Another option we have is when we add another mask, let's say our dirt pots. We'll place it in the same folder with it as our map, data and masks. This one was called PG dirt pots. Default size. Apply. Now over at our rules we can say we want to load our dirt pots, because every mask has to be loaded first. We go to mask load, say our dirt pots are going to be called dirt pots, and the name is very important because that's the one we're going to use. Let's move this up. Now we have a forest, we have dirt pots, we are going to resize our forest, but now let's add another action, and that's called subtract. Forest, and we're going to subtract the dirt pots. There is the option to subtract mask. Now we can say we want to take our forest mask and we're going to subtract our dirt pots. Let's press apply. We need to move this up. We're going to do this after we've resized the forest, so we have the new calculations in place. This should looks right. Okay, we'll save first just to be sure. We didn't add a mask yet, so we'll do that right now. And I don't want the on-the-fly placement. For now, we can just create our new mask. Yes. Place objects. And now our forest, we have the same problem as earlier. It's not retextured, so when I try to add grass over here, and I'll remove the foliage for now. Does this work? No. Okay, it resets when we regenerate our rules. Okay, now over here the road is cut out. We also want to texture our dirt road, so let's add another rule, texture our dirt pots. We'll select mask fill for our dirt pots. Let's say dirt gravel, apply, we can run our rules again. And now we have some dirt pots, but this looks very bad. Let's say where we're filling in our dirt pots, we can also say we're only going to fill in, let's keep a border of about 2 distance. It's not going to reset again, so we'll have to do that manually. Oh. Now, let's generate our roads. And now we have a different border over here. Not really great. Let's fix it up a little. Let's say dirt pots border. And we can create a new border on top of that. Mask border fill. We want to fill our dirt pots. Let's go 1 and 2 units inside and 2 units outside. Let's add an object. And we'll add the dirty grass. Regenerate. And now we have a better border between our forests. Maybe I think if over here where we're subtracting, we could say we want to remove the dirt pots, but we're also going to create a border of about 4. This will remove this line, or better say, push this line back over here, or that's what I expect to happen. And when we're regenerating, this looks already a lot better. We can add foliage over here, we can clear things out. Maybe let's show some of the clear options. Do we have a clear option we can show? Let's add another mask. For our clear example, I'm going to do this another way. Let's skip this mask for now. Just say apply. I can manually add some foliage. Oh, or remove it. Okay, fact, now we should see what happens when we run our generation. And it already removes the foliage. Now what can happen is when the foliage is generated by another mask, that there is already foliage in place and then it won't be removed, then you can manually remove it. So I am going to go for the other example, add mask. Let's add an area we want to clear. Press apply. So let's say this area should be our clear area. We need to load in our new mask. So we'll say mask load, call it clear. Mask loading better than first. We'll add another rule called clear clear. In this case, we'll select mask clear. In this mask, I want you to clear, but we're not going to touch the textures, we're not going to touch the objects, but we are going to remove the foliage. Let's press apply and place objects. So it didn't touch the textures, but it did remove the foliage. And actually, I'm curious, why are my trees not generating anymore? All the rules get executed in order, and I think some of the texturing rules actually always override the foliage. I think that's what we've noticed over here. So we'll add our objects at the end or after we've placed the textures. This still didn't work out. So maybe we'll figure it out another day. Have fun with the scripts and let me know if there's anything wrong with them.